You are listening to Girls in Low Places.
We're like the country music podcast that your mum banned you from listening to.
Let's go, you freak.
Who let us backstage, honestly?
What are you doing?
Ghouls in Low Places. No? It's my Halloween costume for this week. For us. Just for reference, I'm dressed in a sheet, guys.
Do not do that. It's so bad. It's just such a terrible, terrible pun. I don't want to force this upon people. Ooh. I have to do this with you. It's scarier that this is what my life has become.
Okay, I'll take the sheet off. Oh, dear.
Perfect. Thanks.
Gilpers, we're back.
We're back, bitches.
Ozzy, I met quite a few Gilpers at Chris Stapleton on Wednesday.
Did you? Tell me everything.
We just had a great time, great little natter. It was lovely. So
I love it.
Absolutely loved meeting the Gilpers in person. We love you guys. It's been quite a week, hasn't it?
Yeah, I feel like there's been so much country goss. There's just so much going on.
So much.
It really is the genre that keeps on giving.
It's the gift that keeps on giving at all times. Just when you think, I'm going to have a week off country music. Nope. Zach Bryan announces that he's headlining BST.
Insane.
Well, I had a little bit of a breakdown, didn't I, Ozzy?
Yeah. I didn't know if we were going to talk about that, but...
So there's something that may or may not be happening. It's quite a big thing that I couldn't miss, that would be over that particular date. You sent it to me and I was like, oh my God, Zach Bryan, he's coming. It's going to be that BST glorious day again that we all love. And then I was thinking, oh my God, imagine the support acts. It's going to be incredible. And then I realised I might not be able to go. It's hanging in the balance right now. And I just cried. I just sat in Gales in Blackheath and I cried.
You wailed in Gales.
I wailed in Gales.
Yeah, you were pretty upset and there was no talking you off the ledge. But there's absolutely no guarantee that you definitely can't go. So let's just wait and see. This might be a bad time to tell you that I did, an hour ago, purchase 2 tickets in the Amex pre-sale.
I'm fuming. Well, we've got Zach Bryan on the tip of our tongues. Him and Brianna have broken up. Sorry, we called it.
Yeah, and you were getting so much backlash from that. And once again, we knew. There's no smoke without fire, guys.
Maybe we are a news channel that we didn't realise. Like, maybe you should come here for your local news. I mean, I feel sorry for Brianna. It seems like she's been very blindsided by his behaviour.
Didn't stop me buying the tickets, though, did it?
No, it did not. But it's going to make a good album. So we like a bit of heartbreak. But something that I did go to was Chris Stapleton. So
give me the goss. Yes, I love it when one of us can't make it to the other thing.
He's vocally one of, I think he's vocally the best male artist I've ever seen live in terms of his vocal accuracy and talent and musicianship in general. But in terms of the showmanship, he wanted to give us more music than give us any chat. He didn't do a cover of anything. He didn't rework anything slightly differently. He didn't speak about like why or how he wrote something and why a song meant a lot to him. It was just literally like, here's the songs, here's my voice, hope you enjoy.
So not very much talking in between either?
No, there was no talking in between from him. I think he spoke maybe twice throughout a 2-hour show. And it was impressive. The whole thing was incredibly impressive. But I think if you were looking to see a night which you would never see again, like I imagine I could see that show again in a couple of years when he tours again, you know, and it won't be any different and it will just be as marvelous as it was. Yeah, I have so much respect for him. But I would say that I think when you go to a gig, you want to go and feel like it's your night with the artist and it's special to the artist and it's special to the crowd.
I think also in this day and age of artists that are so huge and us, you know, it's a lot of money to go see them and it's a big event and people are setting the bar so high now that it's kind of like for a big artist like that in the O2 to not really have much else going on apart from basically doing like what could ultimately be an acoustic set or something. I think maybe sometimes people expect more, but you know, they're keeping it raw, keeping it true to the music. I get it. I'm all for that. But it wasn't the first time, because we'd heard somebody say, hadn't we, that was maybe what most Chris Stapleton gigs were like.
Yeah, and that he often looks off to the side or looks to his wife who duets with him on stage a lot. She provides sort of like backing vocals, and she's fantastic, like gorgeous, amazing voice, very like sort of Fleetwood Mackie vibes. But he's looking at her a lot because he's got a bit of anxiety, which I totally understand. I mean, imagine playing to the O2, you would be anxious. I was in a seated area, and you know me, I love a standing. That
you do.
For a Chris Stapleton gig, I was very happy to be in the seated because I was like, it's going to be a bit more mellow, it's going to be a bit more chilled. The thing that I would say about that, though, is there was a lot of misunderstanding of the audience as when to stand and when to sit for the people who are in the seated areas. Like, obviously, Chris has a lot of mellow songs, but he does have some more upbeat, you know, ones you want to jive to as well. And there was some people standing occasionally. I stood at one point and was like dancing, and then I felt really exposed because literally the whole of the rest of my area was seated down. But then the area next to us, everybody stood up for I Think You Should Probably Leave. And then there was one woman who was like in front of us who was dancing away, and my God, she was a great dancer. But, you know, sort of like over 50, just absolutely rocking it.
Yes.
And I felt sorry for her because she obviously wanted to be there and be having a vibe. And everyone else around was sitting and listening quite like, you know, firm. And everyone only got up for Tennessee Whiskey right at the end, which I think was a little bit of a shame. Like, it's hard to know when you're sitting down or standing up in those areas. Like, what are you meant to be doing? Like, what's the etiquette there? Because I felt like I was annoying people if I stood up, so then I sat down. But then I felt like I was missing out on something if I wasn't standing up. But then we all stood up for Tennessee Whiskey. I just didn't know whether I was coming or going. What's your thoughts? I know you like a seated concert.
I probably feel like I could have been seated for Chris because he's a bit more mellow. And, you know, I'm listening to Chris when I'm cooking. You know, I'm not necessarily twerking to Chris, even though we have been known to twerk to anything available to us.
I think I could see you twerking to Millionaire. That makes me
twerked your phone off the desk. You know, if you're us, we'll be the only two people standing in the seated.
This is the other thing. Okay, so I've been reading. I've been going on the Facebook country music scene groups a little bit too much in the last week. I've sort of got addicted to reading them, and they are wild. They have a lot of commentary on a lot of things, and I'd mainly say in a negative fashion, which is a really weird thing.
I mean, honestly, they sound like us.
They do a bit, don't they? But one of the other comments that was the big thing that I was reading in this group about Chris Stapleton was that there is too many new country fans who just want to film themselves and not enjoy the music. And can they leave their camera phones and their social media at home? And that they can't be true country fans because they're filming themselves.
Katie, how would you like to comment on that?
As someone who likes to create as much content as possible at gig, I just think, like, I personally, I think it's a generational thing. I understand that, like, phones at gigs can be off-putting. Would we all like to be just really in the moment and not having a phone? Yes, I understand.
We're doing it for the Gilpers.
Yeah, I did it before the podcast.
Yeah,
I just like the memories. I had this quite a lot on my social media, my personal social media. If I share a song that I'm at or a gig I'm at, and I have me singing along or put the captions of the lyrics, I've had quite a few friends go, do I like country music? Message me afterwards being like, do I like country music? Because I really like this. Or like, this made me emotional. And I think it's about sharing this genre of music that we love. And I think I understand if people are getting frustrated with phones at concerts. I do understand that. But what I don't appreciate is people saying that people aren't country fans just because they're making content. The two things can be true. The two things can be the same. You can enjoy making content and you can be a huge country fan and appreciate the music. And that's what I don't appreciate. And that's my TED talk for the day.
Thank you so much. I think there's a balance, isn't there? I mean, it's enjoy it, film a bit of what you want. I don't necessarily need someone to film the whole concert. but it is what it is. You just know that when you go to a gig, it's just some people are just going to do what they want to do, and as long as they're not massively interfering with your experience.
And also have a kind word. Don't have an aggressive word. Have a kind word and say, do you mind, this is an acoustic set. I just really want to listen to it. Do you mind just not speaking through this one? There's ways if I feel like talking about it, but it feels like sometimes that generational gap or that sort of protective gap of the people who've liked country music from the start, seeing this new wave of new generation come in, they just get really angry and aggressive about it. And it just doesn't need to be that way. It needs to be a fun, positive, sharing experience. And I I come away from every country gig sort of with a little bit of something's always happened that gives a bad taste. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that's them or you?
I don't know. Let's take a vote, okay?
Who is the problem? Is it Katie or is it the entire country audience?
Do you know what also has been going on in these country groups, right? Well, I just they're just too much. But one of the things I saw in the group this week was someone posted a picture being like, I wish country music just sounded like country music again. What? Like, the genre needs to evolve. If we don't evolve, the genre will die. And we are evolving beautifully because the genre is growing so
I
fast.
agree. And also, I think this is a good point to talk about, the sound changing. Some people don't really love the, R&B or the commercial, or the sugary pop country. We do. We like all of it. But there are artists out there that are really sounding like, your classic 90s country, or your Dwight Yoakams, your George Straits, and one of those is Zach Top, because he honestly could be. It sounds like he could have been on the radio in the 90s. I love what he's doing. He's gone back to the real kind of, I want to say roots, but the kind of when country became big, and his sound is very unique in that respect. And I'm just absolutely loving it. Like, I just love him. And it's really nice to hear a different sound. So I think, okay, so there is some commercial focus on some of the newer sort of more pop-ish artists. But there are plenty of artists out there that don't sound like that.
It doesn't need to be this divisive space. And I just, I don't know, just that group, it winds me up. And maybe that's what it's meant to do. And I think we probably would wind them up.
Maybe you should stop going on it. What even is it? Get off it.
To be honest, I don't go on Facebook for anything else. Like, Facebook is an absolute weirdo place anyway. Like, what am I doing on it?
I think,
oh god,
there's some other things you could be doing with your time.
You just get lost in a rabbit hole. There are better things I could be doing with my time. I tell you, but I just get sucked into it.
Hello, and I'd also like to talk about country pop. And this week, Kelsea Ballerini has released her new album, Patterns.
Well, I'm going to do a better leader than that. Loved it, but we're not on 90s radio.
Yes, we are. We're 90s radio playing Zach Top.
So, although I've got quite a bad habit and quite a bad pattern of going on Facebook at the moment, do you know who else has got patterns? Kelsea Ballerini. What a lead-in that
Very
was.
well done. Very well done.
So, Kelsea Ballerini, my number one. She has got a new album out this week. And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so long-awaited album following the divorce and new romance with Chase. Now, she did release a couple of songs on an EP, didn't she, before, which we felt a little bit tepid about. So I was kind of a bit worried, thinking, what's this album going to be like? Came out, unbelievable. I love it. Again, I love it. It's so good. Baggage.
Yeah, big fan of Baggage.
I wouldn't say it's a roll up the welcome mat level, but there are some elements of the things I like about that in some of these songs. So I think I will be playing it. There's some I love more than others, but definitely for me, it's a hit on my end. But yeah, tell me your thoughts.
Okay, so my thoughts is this. Rolling Up the Welcome Mat was a very universal feeling that she was talking about. Everybody's been through a breakup. Everybody's been through, a lot of people have been through a divorce, or at least making a home with someone and then sort of it all falling to pieces. So I felt like her musings on that were always going to hit more of a wider audience, and it was very relevant to her at the time. And I think it was written as well as this album, but I think the topic was more universal. I feel like this album is a lot more personal to Kelsea, and I think that she has written it from more of a inner thoughts, sort of diary entry kind of new journey of this new relationship with Chase, which I think a lot of people have experienced as well. And I think there's lots of different parts of different songs that you can go, oh my God, that's so me. Or, oh my God, I totally recognize that feeling. And I think that is why I resonate with it enough and I like it enough. But I do think it's not got that one song that is like big hit. We're all going to be cry singing, kiss someone new last night. We're not going to be doing that with this album so much. It's more of like it scratches my brain in a way that I can't describe. It really makes me feel like, oh God, being a woman is like that.
That's how I feel about it.
It makes me feel validated in a lot of my general like thoughts that just cycle around my head. And I feel that she does that so well for women. She sort of like really finds that inner struggle and puts it out. And I just think the main issue I have with it, and it's not an issue really, it's just I think the thing that she's going to come up against is I don't think there's enough catchy songs on there that I could walk away and sing to you right now. That's my only issue. I love listening to it. I enjoy listening to it.
I think the only one is Baggage, really.
Sing it to me now.
I can't.
There you go.
I've just proved your point.
I know. Whereas you could sing, if you go down, I'm going down too. You'd be singing that all the way bloody home as soon as you heard it. I just wanted there to be one or two that was like, I can sing that all day long. And look, I'm a big Kelsea Ballerini fan. I love everything she touches. She's a goddess. She has done a little UK tour hint, hasn't she? Which is exciting. Yeah. Cannot wait. Won't get as drunk as I was last time when I was at that concert because I kind of missed it all.
But blamed it on the size of the venue.
Always. I might be drunk and flailing around, but just blame it on the size of the venue. Also, I love the fact that her writing process for this album, she just like seemed to take friends and professional and songwriters all away on like a holiday retreat where they just wrote this album and like had the best time. I mean, is that not the dream? I think I'm going to do that for my 40th birthday. Sorry.
Do what?
Just take all my friends away to write my album on my 40th birthday.
Great. Can't bloody wait. I'll be sure to schedule out some time for that. We'll probably be there for a month. What Kelsea did do that's not necessarily unique, but is, I think, kind of one of the main country artists that's done it recently, is did an album or the EP, Rolling Up the Welcome Mat, and then did the healing version after she had kind of got past a different stage and kind of added some of those extra songs on. And I thought it was really interesting because Ella Langley has done something similar with her recent album. So she has done Hungover, and then she's now had Still Hungover. And I'm like, is this the new way forward? You know, you kind of like ride, if you've got some songs that are still within this sort of album era, you kind of ride the wave of being like, okay, well, I'm just going to add a couple more songs to that album and make it a new phase of the album because they kind of still go along with that general phase or time. So yeah, I think it's quite an interesting move because it seems to be quite popular now and lots of people seem to be doing it.
I love it. I think it's you, especially when you're in the thick of a breakup, you can be a year later, 2 years later, see it from a completely different perspective. And I think it's really great to be able to have both those perspectives for whether you're in the relationship, you can then see actually you do heal the other side of it. Or if they're I love the fact that, you know, a lot of artists say, oh, that's my least favorite song to perform live because it always reminds me of my ex, da, 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 da. Whereas I like with, for example, Kelsea or with Ella, like they can rewrite the narrative and enjoy singing that song because they've got something from it that they can now re-sing that's like more relevant to where they see and where they stand now. They don't feel like they could sing those words forever about that person because they're not, maybe they don't feel that way. So I also think it's just like kind of like our generation of like therapy. Like, I just think that we're just a little bit more into growth rather than like digging heels and being bitter forever. And I think that is something that our generation is just a little bit more. We like that. We like the idea of being able to look back and say, well, I've grown from that, and this is how I feel about it now. So I don't know. I love it. Speaking of Ella Langley, I was a bit worried that I was going to get some hate from her fans. Or I think I was actually getting some hate from her fans because the Riley interview got picked up by Whiskey. What was it? Whiskey Jam or Whiskey Riff or something? Whiskey Riff, which is an online publication in Nashville, and they posted about mine and Riley's interview saying, "Oh, Riley Green invites UK podcaster out for a date," which was like very nerve-wracking at the time. I mean, literally every country music star that we know follows that page, and I was like, "Oh my god, they've all seen it. Maybe they want to ask me out on a date too." But also got a little bit of heat from Ella Langley's like being like, Ella Langley enters the chat, all this sort of stuff. And I was like, oh my God, Ella, you win. You're glorious. You're an absolute goddess. You win every single time. Although she has said that they are just friends. And I do believe that. But, you know.
I did see an interview with her where she said something about he like made her more chilled out or just made her like more relaxed a bit more because he's obviously super laid back, which I thought was super interesting.
Yeah, that would ring true.
And you were like, same, babe.
Same. He made me so relaxed. Like, he's just really got that about him, hasn't he?
Oh, God. I'm ready to have some distance from this topic, but I know everyone's loving it.
I know. I think we do. Guys, I'll keep you updated, even if I have to do a solo episode without Ozzy because she just can't bear to hear it anymore.
You actually might have to. No, I'm joking. I love Riley. I love that you're together. It doesn't come from jealousy, I swear. It's just I have to hear about it off the pod. So imagine how much time that takes up, guys. If anyone wants to fill my space hearing more about the Riley interview, then please let me know. We will be accepting applications.
Yeah, maybe we should do it as like a Gilper competition. Like, who gets the inside scoop when I finally go to Nashville and have that date? Like, I do a one-on-one Zoom with them, be like, right, here's the real tea. Speaking of the Gilpers, I've got some questions from the Gilpers. We've got some questions from the Gilpers.
My favourite. Love it.
Questions from the Gilpers.
Yeah. Ozzy, who is your ultimate guest to get on our podcast?
Oh, God. That's so difficult. It's a tie between Kacey Musgraves and Kelsea Ballerini, I think.
Yeah, Kelsea Ballerini is definitely mine. We actually had a couple of Gilpers messaging us about when she mentioned the UK tour, saying, girls, you've got to get her on the pod. It's going to be tough. She was last on Call Her Daddy, which was a main platform. But
a little bit of a drop down here.
You know, we got Riley on. We manifested that. So from this point on, we are manifesting Kelsea Ballerini. I think I'm going to say I'd like Cassie Ashton on. I really like her. I think she's got a bit of bite to her. She's quite a girl in a low place, and I think she'd be a really interesting interview. For anyone who hasn't listened to Cassie Ashton's stuff, like, she's got a new album out this September, and she's kind of like, I think she's actually kind of like Kelsea Ballerini meets Kacey Musgraves. Like, pop those two together, and
I think
she's
she's got a bit more
Ashton
edge. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
No, but Casey's got edge. No,
Casey's got edge, but she's got more edge than Kelsea.
Yeah, I'm just about as edgy as a circle, so I don't really know what edge is if it hit me in the face. But I do really love Cassie Ashton, and I think she's going to do really big things.
Did you listen to Dates in Pickup Trucks?
Love it. Dates in Pickup Trucks. Sorry, I really will stop singing every song that gets mentioned on this podcast.
I don't think you will, because I think you're still trying to get discovered. So I feel like we're just going to now have that every episode, and it will just become like a karaoke battle between you and I, trying to battle it out for a record deal.
Perfect. We're getting closer. We're getting so close.
We got through the universal doors. It's step 1. Tick down.
Oh, something that we need to mention to the Gilpers, actually, and just remind you guys, we are doing a playlist every week of all the music and artists that we mentioned. So it's quite fun to just like, I mean, I found it really fun listening to the playlist after we've done an episode, because I'm like, oh, banger after banger. Or if you speak about a song that I don't know about, it's a really good place to go and find what that song is and then just explore that artist a little bit more. So yeah, definitely listen to the playlist. We are going to link them on the Instagram and the TikTok. So make sure you're following us there, because that's where the magic happens, isn't it, Ozzy?
It absolutely is.
Next question.
This is bring it on.
This is going to be an interesting topic, and I'm interested to see whether this is actually going to make it into the podcast or not.
Okay. Nervous.
What do you think of the UK country scene of artists?
I feel like you've got quite strong feelings about this. You should answer.
I've got strong feelings about this. I think there is a lot of talent in the UK scene. I think there is a lot of great country music that comes out of the UK scene. My gripe with it is, why are we marketing all the artists like it's 2006?
It's a very fair point.
Harley Moon Kemp does it actually really well. She has like proper outfits, gives it some. It looks showbiz to me. I'm interested. She looks like a pop star. Do you know who else does it actually really well? I think is Chanel Yates. She's like up and coming, but I think she looks like a Megan Maroney. She styles herself well. She's being marketed well, and she is something that I think the Gen Zers would look to want to like aspire to. And you need that pop star showbiz, and it just seems to be so lacking in the UK in terms of the country. Like, somebody get them a stylist, somebody get them a marketing, Instagram, social media person, and let's step it up. We need to be as good as the Americans. And I'm sorry, I've seen some of your Instagram pages. They are sad.
Do you know what my real issue with it is? And this is what it is, okay?
You know what? Twinny does it well as well, actually. Twinny does it. Twinny does it well. Yeah. Twinny's gorge.
There's an element of like being true to yourself in music. And I think there is an element of UK country artists, not all, but some, who feel they have to do a thing to be part of the scene, and kind of, you know, and I know it's hard because they are competing against the US market, but I always think like the music I like, British music I like, is because they're true to their lives and who they are. And it can be the same with UK country music. Like, you know, I always think there's a real niche market for people that live in the countryside, in Devon, in the southwest, in rural England. That is very similar to living a real country life. You know, where are the farmers? I want a farming musician. You know, that's what I'm looking for. I want somebody on the tractor, in the trailer, because you're still doing the same thing. It's like, why don't you just sing about like the fact it always rains or whatever? I don't know. There's loads of topics that are way more interesting than that. But I just think there's an element of blend. Somebody needs kind of like blend the comedy and political commentary of like Billy Bragg, for example. That's a niche reference, but some people might know who he is, with kind of like more of a folk sound, or I don't know, that just something that needs to be more authentic for me. And I can't explain it in any other way. I'm just saying that it's okay that you don't have to put on cowboy boots, and you don't have to wear a hat, and you don't have to sing about whatever it is you think you should be saying about. You can just be kind of singing about your life, day-to-day life. That is what people want to hear. It's supposed to be 3 chords and the truth. It's supposed to be something that happens to you and your experience. And that's what people want to listen to.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a sweet spot that I feel nobody in the UK has cracked. And I don't know where it is myself. I couldn't tell you. I wish I could.
And the answer is Katie and Ozzy.
There we go. Cracking the scene.
I think the problem is other genres are not directly linked to a specific country. But with country music, it is specifically linked to the US. But it's not the same with house or drum and bass or indie or whatever the case may be. So I think that is where country differs, in that it's so inherently linked to the lifestyle of one specific place.
It's one I'm unstuck on, but I want it to improve. I want it to get better. Okay, here's a final question. Final question for the day. If you could be one country music star for the day, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a really good question. I want to give a different answer because I'm just so obsessed with Kacey Musgraves. I feel like I'd say that to her for anyone, and also because she's brunette and we just don't have enough of them. But who would it be? Someone for a day. Who do I think's got really great life? Oh God, I'm trying to think. I don't know why Luke Bryan is springing to mind. Why do I want to be Luke Bryan for a day? I just think he's got a nice house. He goes fishing. He does some fun stuff. His family seem fun. I don't know. Okay, no, I'm going to say someone else. Who would you be?
I think I'd be Hayley Whitters. I think it's mainly like the outfits. I really want to be styled like that. And I think her songs are fun, and she has a nice husband, and she doesn't take anything too seriously, and she's been in the game for a while, so she just like looks like she's just cool. Enjoying her success.
She's so cool.
Yeah, Hayley Whitters. She's actually another top one I would love on the pod.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. That's like a dream for me.
Absolute dream. She's our dream girl.
I was obsessed with her when she had one song out, and I was just like, who is this? I need more information.
Her song, The Faker, or is it a cover or is it her original?
Yeah.
But The Faker is unreal. Like, that is just, every time I listen to it, it makes me gasp. So The Faker, guys. Hayley Whitters, she's a girl. I swear she's due a new album out soon. Come on, Hayley. Where are you?
Yeah, I think so. She is also playing at Sandon at their Boots Festival, I think, which is already sold out in some ridiculously short time, which I just was loving that she was part of that lineup. That's going to be a great festival. I'm sad we're not going to that.
I'm really sad. Well, we don't know. Who knows? Anyone got a private jet? Anyone, who knows? By this time next
private
year,
jet, VIP tickets.
Well, also, if, everything goes well with Riley, we could be there. So who knows?
Okay, you're right. Maybe I should endorse. I should endorse this more.
Yeah, think of the perks you will get. Exactly.
Great questions. Keep them coming.
Yeah, I keep them coming. Yeah. We love them, and we want to hear more from you. So let us know who you want us to have on the pod as well. We've got some fun guests lined up coming up. Some absolute icons. Some we got some really fun girls coming on who are just going to chat everything, and we're going to be back in the studio in a couple of weeks. So yeah, we're excited. You're excited. And until then, this has been Ghouls in Low Places. Guys, follow us on TikTok, Instagram. We're now on YouTube Shorts as well. Please do watch us on YouTube because this is now live. We're on YouTube every week in video form.
Or don't.
Or don't, because we always look
terrible.
Tell your friends. We want this to become a really big community and a fun community in the UK, unlike those Facebook groups. So we want to share the word, spread the word, Gilpers, get the word out there. And yeah, we love you guys and see you next week.
You are listening to Girls in Low Places.
We're like the country music podcast that your mum banned you from listening to.
Let's go, you're free.
Who let us backstage, honestly?